Okay, so let me start off with an apology, because apologies are important, and accountability, because these are things we've been speaking about. And I would like to apologize because this month, the month of May, is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I clean forgot. I didn't even notice. I heard it, but I didn't notice.
Well,
So
you're doing better than me. I did not know at all until you mentioned it. So I clearly haven't been paying attention to it either.
no, because I was like, we're an organization that's about mindsets and things like that. We're not talking about mental health, and this is important. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
And I think I feel like it's important. My opinion is I feel like it's important for us to speak about it, but more so for you to speak about it because I think that it brings such a different perspective because of processing, right? So there's a lot of talk from therapists and this and that, and I'm not knocking you guys. You guys do good work for people who need that, but I feel like from a processing perspective, it just brings it in a whole different space. So now that my apologies are done, let me get to part two of what I love to do, and that is talk about some stats, and these stats are crazy. In South Africa, 1 in 4 South African employees experience depression, with 80% continuing to work despite their condition. 82% of workers with a diagnosed mental illness choose not to inform their managers, primarily due to fears of discrimination and insecurity. Mental health issues contribute to 200 billion in lost productivity in South Africa, underscoring the economic burden of untreated mental health conditions in the workplace. Should we just end it then?
We're just, it's so funny when you said 1 in 4.
Mm.
I would disagree with those stats.
Right? What?
Because I think 1 in 4 are willing to talk about it.
Oh, sorry, stats guys. You guys have been broken because that's fair. I admit that actually.
And I think it's actually worse.
Much worse.
Because the average person does not know, or is not willing to admit, or is too embarrassed or scared to admit that they suffer from depression of some way, shape, or form. And I am no expert by any means, scientifically or that kind of thing. But generally, my experience is that I've suffered depression. I'm pretty sure you've suffered depression at some point in your life. And I know that when I was going through depression, 1, I didn't want anyone to know. And 2, I certainly didn't want to talk about it. And 3, I was trying to pretend that everything was okay. So if we look at those stats, and I'm just talking about myself and, the hundreds of people that I've worked with, that would be my experience. And I think more people are struggling with depression than what we actually realize. And that is why, the beverage companies that sell alcohol do so well.
Oh, yeah. Crushing it.
People are masking their depression with drugs, alcohol, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So that it's a pretend that everything's okay. Or they're going to their doctor, they're saying, I'm not doing great, just give me antidepressants. And they're not actually telling anybody that they're on antidepressants.
So, like, from your experience, right, what does antidepressants do? Are we not, and I think it's also very important, as you said just now, we are not speaking scientifically. We're speaking from a processes perspective of what is, from your perspective, what do antidepressants do to people?
Antidepressants take the edge off the emotions.
Okay.
So what they do is they suppress the emotions. So I don't want to feel depressed, so I'm going to take an antidepressant, which is actually going to allow me not to feel.
Got you.
So I don't feel depressed.
Yeah.
But the problem with antidepressants is they're also going to stop you from feeling the positive emotions too. Because drugs don't know the difference between anger, depression, joy, excitement, passion. They don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So it suppresses all of your moods. So you essentially become more robotic because you're just going through the motions when you're not on an antidepressant.
So it's just like it's easier to move through the, like you said, robotic. So I can take this pill and I just go through my day. Like it is what it is.
Correct. And I can function.
Yeah.
Because I'm not worried about the emotion. And I don't want anybody that's listening to this podcast, I don't want you to think that we are saying antidepressants are bad.
Yes.
Okay. Because they have a place. Okay. Just like everything, there is a place for them.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I feel, and this is my opinion, is that doctors prescribe them way too easily. Prescribe it because people will go in and say, I'm not feeling great. I'm really struggling. And the doctor will say, here's some antidepressants.
Yeah.
Instead of, right, what is actually happening? What's been going on in your life? When did this depression start? They're not actually equipped. Doctors are not equipped to deal with the mental side. They're equipped to issue medication. So instead of doctors saying, okay, let's get you some help, let's send you to...
Let me refer you to somebody.
I'm going to refer you to somebody that can help you work through this. A doctor will go, here's some medication.
There's your 1 month full. See you in 30 days.
And my experience with antidepressants, myself, when I was prescribed them, was not great. Okay, so I went off to antidepressants, and the first lot made me feel so sick, like nauseous and headaches, and I couldn't function at all. So I went back to my doctor and I said, this is what's happening. And having said that, my doctor was also very aware that people react to antidepressants. And instead of here's a month's supply, I'll give you a 3-day supply.
Okay.
Try it out.
Let's see how,
see how it works. Or a 7-day supply, whatever it was. It was not a full month. So then I went back and I said, these don't make me feel good. And so he said, okay, let's try a different one. And again, he gave me a 3 or 4 day supply. And I had to go back again and I'd say, these ones, like, I am so like on edge. Like I'm like seriously, like I'm feeling like, she's like, okay, cool. Let's try a third one. And the third lot of medication he put me on, I was so out of it. I was driving and I remember, like, I don't know how I'm going to get home because I can't actually, my brain is so foggy, I can't think. And I landed up going home. And I had to make, I think one of my girls had a swimming gala. And I landed up getting to the swimming gala and passing out at the swimming gala. Like I put a sleeping bag down with a pillow and I lay down and I slept for 2 hours.
Gee whiz.
And this is like 10 o'clock in the morning. This is not...
Yeah. It's you haven't had a full day.
This is not even a full day. And I remember thinking, no. And I immediately stopped taking them. And I'm like, I'm not going to go back to my doctor because he's going to give me a different medication. Yeah. And now I'm like, I know I don't respond well to them. And actually, I did go back to my doctor for the 4th one. I did go back. And he gave me a 4th one. And the 4th one was okay.
Okay.
And I was on it for a month. And I saw a friend of mine and I said to her, I've been prescribed antidepressants. And she looked at me and she said, what? And she said, no, you don't touch those. You do not need those. And she said, you need to find out what's happened in your life. And she said, I'm giving you, and she literally was like, I'm giving you 4 weeks. In 4 weeks, you wean yourself off of those things. You don't go anymore. And she said, and then I'm going to send you to an iridologist.
What's that?
Someone that looks at your eye.
Okay.
And basically, they take a full picture of your eye and then they tell you your life story.
From your eye?
That's exactly what I said. What? Like, no ways.
Voodoo.
And she said, you go and see this guy. And she gave me his details. And she said, she told me all about him. And she said, it'll be like an hour and a half to a 2-hour session. And you record the whole thing. You tell him you want to record it. So you can go back later and listen to it. Oh. Because you won't remember everything he tells you. And if you can, take somebody with you, because they'll also hear things that you didn't
That you miss.
that you miss. So at the time I couldn't go with somebody. So I went by myself, but I recorded it. And this guy literally took a picture of my iris, and he literally told me my life story from my eye. And I remember him saying, this period here, he goes, what the hell happened in your life here? The stress lines in your eye are showing me that these 5 years were horrific.
It's like he can go back.
Yep. And he told me weird things, like he said, oh, you don't like to wear high heels. And I looked at him like, yeah, how do you know that? And he said, because you have a weak left ankle.
He got that from your eye.
Yep.
You're gonna go see this person.
and he said, you have a weak left ankle. And the more I started to think about it, and he goes, so, if you do want to wear high heels, the best thing for you to do is wear wedges, because it's a lot more stable than a heel. And he said, so, wear wedges, and that'll also protect your weaker left ankle.
Okay.
And then he told me things like, he said, so, there's clearly a history of cholesterol in your family.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh.
And he said, what you have is hereditary. And I left there and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy in an hour and a half unpacked my whole life.
Yeah.
And his advice was, even to the point that he could tell me that I had a breast op, and that I needed to get it checked because there were indications of possible cancer, or it's currently not healed correctly. So you need to get that checked. Which then led me to go and see a doctor who basically then went through everything and said, yes, the healing is still happening, blah, blah, blah. So it's not cancer, but the healing is still going on and what have you.
Okay.
It was fascinating. And this is where, like, my journey into improving my life got so much better, because I realized that antidepressants weren't the answer.
Yeah. Someone just looked in your eye. Clearly, I don't need that anymore.
Literally, he blew my eye up big and then analyzed the whole thing. And, and this is where ulterior medicine comes in, because, you can go to homeopath. And on the scale of homeopaths, there are so many different homeopaths you can go and see.
Yeah.
And so, again, going to see different homeopaths, I realized that not all homeopaths are the same. Some of them will do blood tests. Some of them will use a Rife machine. There are so many different. It's not like going to see a doctor at your GP who does blood tests and gives you a response.
Yes.
There are many different ways that homeopaths operate.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like a realization around, okay, cool, there's got to be other ways. So I started doing research into like a prayer ministry. And in our church, there was a lady that was training people on, I don't even know, she called it a prayer ministry, but pretty much what happens is you go and you chat to somebody and they will tell you the things that, well, not they tell you, you tell them what's been going on, and then they help you unpack through a process some of the trauma in your life. Okay. And that was where I started my processing journey, because
sounds like it.
I then started to realize there are different ways to approach health, and there are different ways to clean up trauma in your life. And so began my journey, and I learned how this prayer ministry worked, and learned all the techniques and did all the courses with them, and started practicing on different individuals and helping people to clean up the trauma. But then what I realized is that a positive can be just as traumatic as a negative.
Yeah.
So And this is how I landed up in terms of working with ACLC and the journey of processing, and why I loved Alan's work so much, because it looks at the negative and the positive. And so all that equipped me to become better. And if I say my journey was, I wanted to help myself.
Yeah.
Very
100%.
selfishly.
Incredibly
I
selfish.
did not want to take antidepressants. And
You
so
wanted
my
to help
journey,
yourself.
so that started my journey. And once I got myself into a reasonable state,
Yeah.
it became, well, it wasn't difficult. It was very hard, but it was also very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to, that's where I became very passionate about helping other people.
Yeah.
Because I realized, man, you can make a significant difference in your life. To go from someone that didn't want to get out of bed. I used to take my girls to school, drop them at school I'd be in my pajamas, and I'd go home and I'd go back to bed. Because going back to that stat of depression, I was too embarrassed to tell anybody where I was sitting.
Yeah.
And, how was your day when Barry come home? Yeah, it was fine. Well, what did you do? Oh, not much. Just,
you don't want to get into it.
I don't want to get into it. Don't want to discuss it. And then when someone does start talking to you, suddenly all the waterworks come on, and you're like, what the hell's wrong with me? I'm the problem. I'm the one that's the issue. And if I go back, it was, antidepressants are too easy to get on, and they suppress all the emotion. And then if you ask the question, what do? They suppress all your emotion. And so when you start to come off of the antidepressants, you have to wean yourself off. You cannot just go cold turkey. And the reason for that is because all the emotions will arrive at once if you go cold turkey. You have to learn to take yourself, to reduce the dosage so that emotional stuff can arrive and come at you, and you don't collapse in a ball and a heap because all this emotion has arrived.
Yeah, I actually experienced that exact same thing with the former partner. And I never understood it because obviously I wasn't in this position, so I never understood what was happening. I was championing getting off the antidepressants. I never said wean yourself off. I was like, you need to get off these pills. Like, these things are bad for you. And she did that, and whoa, yeah, I think like 3 weeks later we broke up. because it's all just
all these emotions. Every time you've experienced joy, sadness, anger, frustration, irritation, passion, that all arrives just at once, and that is so overwhelming for a person, because and the problem is, the longer you've been on the antidepressant, the worse it is coming off, because you've suppressed emotions for so long.
That must be so flippin' jarring for a person, because like you've been sort of like this for a long time, and now this ball of, now you don't know what's happening with you, and it must be so much worse, right? Because you're going through this depression which is already just ripping through you, and now you take these pills which balance you out, and then you come off them. I feel that it would be a lot easier to go back to them if you go cold turkey.
Absolutely. I have had clients that I've actually said to them, do me a favor, go back on your antidepressants and let's wean it off over 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because you've just gone cold turkey, and that's not okay. Because it's not. It is way too overwhelming. So, reduce the dosage slowly, and over a period of 6 weeks, come off, and we can deal with the emotions as they're coming up. I can equip you with the emotions, so as they come up, we can work through it.
Yeah, I mean, it must be incredibly difficult for you, because now you're dealing with like 35 emotions, for example, at once, and you're not sure how to navigate this person, because they don't know what they're doing. They
have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Because they will go from laughing hysterically to crying to being so angry they want to And so it's, antidepressants have a place.
Yeah.
But I believe that in this day and age, it is way too easy for doctors to prescribe them without understanding where people are at and without understanding how to help people get better
Yeah.
so that they can cope. Because what you don't want is you don't want someone going on antidepressants for 25 years.
No, you can't. I mean, I feel like you're just suppressing every emotion. Like you're just gonna be that's 25 birthdays where you barely smiling. This is a serious topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. And like I met somebody who's 80-ish, round about there. I'm not sure of their exact age.
That's fine.
And they told me they've been on antidepressants from the age of 25.
Jeez, 60 years.
Yep. And
From the same doctor.
I don't ask. Okay.
Sorry, I ask uncomfortable questions. Inappropriate questions.
Because the
Mad.
question they were asking me was, can you help me? And my question to them was, you're X amount of years old. Is that something you want to start working through now? Do you want to go back and deal with all the stuff in your life and to get off the antidepressants? And they looked at me dead straight and they said, absolutely not. And I said, well, then keep taking your antidepressants.
Yeah,
they are working for you. And to be, at that age of 80, do you want to go back and do stuff? Now, having said that, I have other people that are also in their 70s that come and they're like, I want to deal with my stuff. I want to be a better grandmother. I want to be a better, I'm at a stage where, I've realized X, Y, and Z. And they're also in their 70s, but they haven't been on antidepressants and they're willing to work on themselves because they have a reason to.
Does that make it easier for you, for example, right? It's because you have to, I would imagine you would have to work through the antidepressants. So you're talking about 60 plus years of antidepressants. That's like years of weaning off. You're not just gonna, I don't think you can do a six week wean off for that. Because that's like part of your bloodstream.
But I'm not equipped enough to answer those questions. I just know this. If you want to experience life to its fullest,
Yeah,
you need to get yourself off antidepressants if you are on them. If you are not on antidepressants and you are thinking of taking antidepressants, understand there are other options for you.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing is people see therapy, psychiatrists, psychologists, all these things as weak.
Yes. But
I'm weak if I do that, or that's bad, or there must be something wrong with me. And this is where it's like, for me, it's like, I need to let you know a little secret. There's something wrong with everybody. No one's perfect.
Yeah, I came up with the book title idea. I'm not going to write it. I'll probably give it to Barry since he loves writing books. It's called Everybody's Effed Up. That's the title of the book, because I think that it was actually a realization I had this weekend, which was like, yeah, we all effed up. We all have something going on with us.
Nobody is perfect. As much as we like to think we are.
As much as you like to post it on social media. You're not.
No one is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's we were talking about it this morning at breakfast. We were talking about people that arrive at a certain venue and then take photos, photo shoots, post it all over social media, and then they don't even, like if it's at a paddle court, they don't play paddle, or if it's at a swimming pool with a beach or like Sun City, they don't even swim. They don't even lie down on the beach. They just they lie down on their towel to get their photo shoot. They pick up their towels and they walk off. And this is part of the reason why I think so many people are struggling with depression, because there is not honesty on social media.
Oh, you see, what you've just done now. Now you unpacked a whole new thing.
I opened another can of
Pandora's box just blew up.
but it's, and this is where people don't understand. When you look, you're posting yourself on social media to look good, to
Yeah.
feel good.
Yeah.
And then somebody else will come along and look at it and go, oh, wow, when did they get a new car? Oh, check, they're always going on holiday. That's not the truth.
No.
It's a half truth.
Yes.
Because you don't know who paid for that holiday. You don't know what that person had to do to go on those holidays, those kind of things. And
Like I've told you before, there are now companies where you can hire out a private jet for a shoot and it never leaves the runway, never leaves the tarmac.
I did not know that.
I told you this.
No, you're not me. You haven't told me that.
I haven't. Oh.
You must have told
There are
someone else in
companies.
the office.
I've not said it on the Uncovering Greatness podcast. I just have to find it. But there are companies. I said it to Barry. That's what it was. There are companies that actually now exist where you can hire out a private jet just to shoot your content.
I'm gonna buy a private jet just to do that, man. How cool is that?
That's money. And you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything.
You just
don't
own a
have to
jet.
fly the plane. You just.
No, I don't even think it needs to work.
I was gonna say, does it even need an engine?
No, I just think you need like a couple of seats and the windows. That's all you need, really. If this processing thing doesn't work out, if you get to a point where you've had enough, there you go. It's your next investment.
But it's such a, like, for me, it's so sad that that's the way the world has gone around material things. Material things have become way more valuable than experiences or connections.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Definitely.
And, instead of people connecting, I'm going to show you. Have you seen my latest mug?
I mean, if you look at that.
Do you know how long this stays hot for?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to bring up their name because, well, as always, you're not paying us. But like that company with the big water bottles. People were literally, people had that for status. It wasn't about, the way that the company looked at it, I was like, brilliant marketing. I mean, I don't have to pay for nothing here. Awesome. But everybody else jumped on it. There was a point where those things skyrocketed to like 2,000, 3,000 rand for a bottle.
I know. Crazy, right?
And now all of a sudden they everywhere you can get it for like $60 from Chinatown.
But now the question is, the ones you buy from Chinatown, are they real? And do they do what the first ones did?
Nicole, I don't think anybody cares if they're real anymore. I think this is the world. What she said is so spot on. It's become so sad around material things that people don't care if I'm not going to sit and scrutinize it and go, this is actually not the original. If you could just see it if I can angle it nicely and you take the picture, you don't know it's the real or not. And people are willing to spend their hard-earned money on fake stuff to impress people that they don't even know, or people don't even care about them. And it's this topic.
And so because of all of that, that is, I believe, in my opinion, and these wonderful things called cell phones, they are helping our stats of depression to go up. And people are not even aware. So, I just look and I go, kids today would rather sit on a cell phone all day than go outside and play.
Yes.
And I saw one reel, whatever it is, on Facebook of the father standing inside laughing and the kids outside, and he says, go play. And the kid says, what am I going to do? And he's standing at the window crying because he wants to come inside because there's nothing for him to play with outside.
He put him outside. He locked him out.
Because he locked him out and he said, you go play outside. And now this is not like a 3-year-old. This is like a 10, 11-year-old that is standing outside, bawling his eyes out because the father has locked him outside and said, no more TV, no more computer games, go and play. And it's not like they have this, the father videos the garden and there's a swimming pool and there's balls and all sorts of things outside. And the kid is crying because there's nothing for him.
There's stuff for him to do, but for him, it's not the stuff he wants to.
But why? Because we are not teaching our children to go outside and play anymore. We're teaching them that games on social media are more important. Watching whatever's happening on TV is way more important than actually, doing some physical exercise and things like that. And so all of those factors are contributing to depression. And I mean, teen suicides are just going through the roof. And every year when matric results come out or exam results come out, more and more kids are like offing themselves because they've been told their life is going to end
because
they failed.
I mean, we've spoken about it, that that show, Adolescence.
Yep.
I mean, essentially, what is that? That's online social media bullying. And the crazy part is, this is an entire way of communicating that people don't actually know about. The whole things that they were doing, the pills, the mushroom, all of those things. Even I was like, and I work in social media, and I was like, what is this?
And but I think it's more than that. As the parents were like, we were happy for him to be in his bedroom because we thought we were keeping him safe.
It was safer. It's safer for them to be inside than it is outside nowadays. I mean, you hear that a lot.
Correct. So it's safer to be inside. And there are all these crypto messages and the cyberbullying and all these kind of things going on, which is affecting mindset, but we're not seeing the effects of it until later down the line.
Yeah.
And I think that is, the biggest thing is, like, are you aware of where your mindset is and what's actually being created in your mindset? Because if we take gym, for example, when you go to the gym and you want to create something, you can physically measure it.
Yeah.
So let's say I want to run a marathon. So I start going to the gym and walking on the treadmill. I can actually measure how much my physical body is improving or not improving. And there are things that I can observe. This has this effect. But with mindset, one of the challenges is we don't see the effects until it's too late. Because people are not honest enough to say, I don't like this, it's making me feel uncomfortable. And somebody else is going to go, what's the problem? It's just a blue book.
Suck it up.
I don't understand why it's making you feel uncomfortable. And then the person who's going, it's going, okay, and they're sucking it up, but they're not coping. And then by the time we realize they're not coping, they've, done something silly. And that silliness can be anything from leaving home to, all sorts of things, drugs, alcohol, all sorts of things. So, or not even not wanting to go out or becoming a recluse or those kind of things. And we are not aware of the effects until later, until often it's, I don't want to say too late, but until some damage has been done. And then suddenly we go, oh, flip.
Yeah.
And then
that's going to happen.
And then it's, you need help. We'll go see your doctor. Get on some antidepressants.
And the thing is, you said it earlier. It may be probably not a controversial statement, but I believe that I don't think alternative medicine should be called alternative medicine.
It should be called the health industry.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like the originating point of medicine. Right, like alternative medicines like homeopathy and things like that, using natural herbs or natural remedies. I feel like that's the origin.
But now I can't remember what it's called, but there's this movement in India. A lot of people are going to India for, and it's, it's on the tip of my tongue, what it's called. People are going to India and they're doing, stretching and yoga and that sort of thing, and then they're getting put on all these herbs and all those kind of things. And I've become very aware of several people in my space that are doing this health, and it's not medication, it's health, it's the health industry, and that's what they are calling it. And if I can actually have a look here. what it's actually called. I do have it somewhere. But anyway, so, and I've come across several people recently that are either, I mean, one of Barry's clients has actually brought somebody from India here to South Africa and is going to work with him. And
That's
then,
cool. Shit.
and then somebody else I know is actually going to India to go and do, and I've met several people that are doing that. But it's basically, it is, they work and they put you for a week. All you do is eat what they tell you to eat and take the herbs and medicines that they tell you. And then you go on to...
Yeah, I mean, here, looking at it says India's Ayush. So it's...
Yes, that one.
Oh, so it's the Ayurveda, Yoga,
Yes, Ayurveda.
Siddha, and homeopathy. Saying the sector is expected to reach 23.3 billion by 2025.
Yeah.
At the end of this year.
Yes. And so many people are going there because, you know, eat, pray, love.
Had to bring it, pray, love.
But that's what it is. It's going to yoga classes. But before you do the yoga and the stretching, you have to have all these herbs and things so your body is clean, so that when you go and do the yoga and things, you don't actually hurt your body.
So you're like through a detox almost.
Correct. And then through stretching, you release a whole lot of the traumas in your body that are trapped life force particles. Processing, we do the same. We release things that are from mindset that often manifest in the body. If you don't release your trauma, it will manifest in your body and then create upsets.
Yeah, I know he was a liar, and I'm not disputing the fact that he lied. But there was some action. There is, in terms of the stuff that the Liver King talks about, not him specifically, not from his mouth. I'm saying the practices. This sun, getting sun, eating proper food, being one with nature and being connected to other people as levels of being, as practices of being able to live a healthier lifestyle is, I feel, is actually quite important in terms of your mental health, because you can talk more about that, but like the impact of your mental health on your physical health, that's a huge connection, right?
Huge. And vice versa.
Yeah.
The impact of your physical health affects your mental health.
Yeah.
So people that start doing sports and things like that have a healthy mindset or healthier mindset, because why? They're moving all the time. So, and Jordan Peterson talks about all these kind of things and all those things you're talking about food and all those kind of things. But and so it's what can you change in your lifestyle to get a different result?
Yeah.
So if you are struggling to get off the couch, what's one thing you can change? Well, make it non-negotiable. You will go for a walk every evening.
Yes. And to add to that, because I don't want people to turn around and be in the comment section and say, Nicole said I must just get up and go. If you haven't done it before, don't go and walk 20 kilometers.
No. Correct.
People are ridiculous.
But it is go and can you walk, around your complex, or can you walk around the block of your building, or whatever it is? There are different, but do it slowly and gradually. The most important thing is consistency. Can you do it every day?
Yeah, I mean, we see it so much at UGE, and we've seen it a lot with people who have come into the Ultimate Greatness experience, haven't been mobile for years and years and years, and they're very adamant that I can't move. My doctor said I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. And gradually, it's a 5-day event, but by the 5th day, people are moving.
Correct. And that's all it is. It's if you are battling with something like depression, and so change something. And if it means you do a gratitude exercise, we have the Green Zone Daily Ritual. Go and do that. Be deliberate every single day. It is not negotiable. I will do this. And that's where it's gratitude, wins, and presence. And by changing little things, it doesn't have to be huge. It's the little things you do that are going to allow you to shift. and start shifting your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I think our next podcast, we should do something like a growth mindset or something along those lines.
100%.
Because those things, doing those little things every day is going to allow you to shift into a mindset where you can shift.
And I actually agree with you there, because I think that if you're watching this and you're going, well, Nicole, I can't do that. I can't get up and walk one step at a, like, I can't go out and walk outside or whatever. That's a fixed mindset. You're limiting yourself from being able to do anything. And I know that because of processing, I've started to realize it more and more. You know, like the little stupid things you say to yourself that you can't do.
Yep.
And you're never able to do them. Like it just becomes, and you're speaking about it last week or the last episode, it becomes your reality. I can't do it, but it's not a fact. The fact is you can. You just be lazy. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Not everything we say in this podcast is gospel, but not everything is directed at you.
Not everything I say is gospel. You probably want to listen to what she says, don't.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing is change something. And the one thing that you know you need to do that you don't really want to do, that's the one thing you need to change. And if it's take your dog for a walk and it's a 1K walk, that's all you need to do. Go and do it. But do it 3 times a week. Do it consistently. Do it regularly. And you'll start to see a significant shift.
So if people want to get a hold of you, speak to you, maybe get some hope from you, if they want to help themselves, firstly, obviously, where can they be that?
So Nicole at uncoveringgreatness.co.za.
I'll put that in the comments. You on any of the socials?
Yes, Facebook.
And Instagram?
And Instagram. And what's the other one? LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn, yes.
I'm on all of those.
Nicole Mitchell. Very simple. Nicole. I've seen Nicole spelled with an H.
No.
That's wrong. Okay. MITCHELL. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Thank you guys for watching. This has been an interesting episode. Just stayed on topic for a good 40 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. You know, the more you guys subscribe, the more we get to do these types of podcasts and these types of episodes. And obviously we want to get better at what we're doing. So yeah, just subscribe, let us know what you think. And that's that. See you guys next week.
Next week.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right. Thanks, Sylvie. Bye.
Goodbye.